So lately there's been a lot of animosity and tension between the indigenous people and the Hispanic people. Now this is based on our history because when the Europeans came to the Americas, it wasn't good. As you know, there was a lot of atrocities that were done to the indigenous peoples. So of course they get mad. It's understandable that they get heated when we're trying to put up a statue of Oñate to represent our history and Oñate slaughtered one of their pueblos. Of course they're going to get mad. Now that's an argument that just can't get won. You can't argue over that, religion or politics. There's never a right answer. Everybody is always right in their mind. Anyway, I just wanted to come on here and say that indigenous people and Hispanic people should be united. And let me tell you why. Yes, the Spaniards were the first people to come to the Americas. And what they did left a lasting scar. But during this time, the English were setting up on the East Coast. And then they had their revolution. And then they became their own country, America, the United States of America. And then they started heading west. They all started moving west, going to California to the gold rush, going to Colorado to the gold rush. And all this moving west brought them to our land. And before you knew it, the United States of America had territory from coast to coast. And then they started persecuting both the natives and the Hispanic people. Hispanic people, our ancestry does come from Spain, so we do have European ancestry. But when the English came, we were inferior to them. And this is partly to do with England and Spain being at war for the last couple hundred years before this, but it also had to do with racism. See, us Hispanics were looked down upon. We were spit upon. The indigenous people might say that that's karma. And maybe it is karma for what our ancestors did. But you got to think about it like this. When the English came, they came and persecuted both the indigenous and the Hispanic people. Read this sign. So the sign says, no Spanish or Mexicans. When they're referring to them, they're referring to us as a whole. So we should still be united as a whole. See, so the Spanish referred to Hispanic, the people who came from Spain, their descendants. And the Mexicans, they were referring to indigenous people. See, back in the day, the indigenous Mexicans came up here with Oñate and settled New Mexico. Then for the reconquest, a group of them came up here with Don Diego de Vargas and settled in New Mexico. Like I said before, the Mexica were the Aztec people. So they named the land that they ruled over Mexico. And the Hispanics called them Mexicanos since they're from Mexico. And that's where the word Chicano comes from. Now, I know a lot of you will say it's not pronounced like that. I know it's not pronounced like that, but that's the way the Spaniards pronounced it. They didn't know how to pronounce the X. The X in Nahuatl, I don't even know how to pronounce. Sometimes it's like with the Z. I guess it depends on the word. But I don't know Nahuatl, so that's not for me to speak on. All I know is the indigenous, the Mexica. That's what they're referring to when they said Mexicans, Mexicanos, Mexicanos, just different pronunciation. So Mexicans refer to indigenous. Spanish refers to Spain. So obviously they grouped us all into one group and threw us to the curb. So my whole point is that Native Americans, and I'm talking about indigenous to all the Americas, North and South America, not just the United States. I call them Native Americans because they're all native to America. Native Americans and Hispanic people should unite instead of be fighting. We should unite against the government that is a tyranny to us. The government that's putting us in prisons, locking us up, having us on the run, flooding our streets with dope, overdosing us, killing us, letting us kill each other. Now the natives and the Hispanics should be in this together, and that's all I wanted to say. Instead of all this fighting about history, let's think about the present and about what the history evolved into. It's evolved into what it is now. Instead of living in the past, a past that happened 400 years ago, we should be present. It's good to teach history. It's good to learn from the past. Like I say, if you don't know history, you'll be doomed to repeat it. So it's good to know history, but let's not live in the past. Let's live in the present and realize Hispanic people and indigenous people should be united against the true white people, which were the English who came after and their descendants. Anyway, TikTok might get mad at me for this, but I'm gonna post it anyway because it's what I feel. This is Tragedy. Thank you for watching. I'm out.